Welcome to ROFLcast Uncut, episode 47, where we find out why racism is funny.
It's because it hurts people's feelings.
Yes, it does, Achilles. Yes, it does.
Perfect. I nailed it.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that joke must have been Jesus because he nailed the shit out of it. That must have been a passed out 9-year-old girl at a house party because you nailed the shit out of it. That must have been a Japanese corpse that washed up on shore because you nailed the shit out of it.
All right, I think you're beating the joke. It's just so, hey, man.
Speaking of beating it, let's talk more about masturbation.
Well, I think we did that last time.
The first 20 minutes of every podcast has to be dedicated to masturbation.
Just some masturbation talk?
Yeah.
Oh.
So what's your favorite porn site?
So it's been a while.
DeadAsianHookers.com.
Is that your favorite porn site?
Well,
It's
it
not
just
mine.
started. Yeah, apparently Japan got a lot of source content for that one. No, it's not what you think. They died in the tsunami. We're allowed to make fun of it because we donated. I did.
You donated
I
money?
donated $100.
Dude, you donated money so you could make jokes, so then you could tell people it's okay because you donated the money.
Yeah, I either donated $100 or 100 yen. I'm not sure which one it is.
Not really clear on.
Either way, you know what? That money's coming right back to us because my iPhone ain't gonna make itself.
No.
Yeah, just putting that out there.
Don't they make them in China, not Japan?
You know what? Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to? It's been a while.
No, not really.
Nope.
I saw you last week. So
you did.
yeah.
And this morning.
Yeah, I did. I've seen you all day today.
DUI. Although we've been trying to get together for a while, you're just flaky as fuck.
That's a little bit.
True. No,
I don't know,
you're
I've been
the
gone.
worst.
I was
You
gone.
are
I was
the
in
worst.
Vancouver.
No, okay. Well,
I'm
while
leaving
you were
for
here,
Houston.
you were bad.
Yeah, well, I've only been back for like 9 days, so.
Well, what were you doing in Vancouver?
Well, Vancouver was pretty awesome.
Yeah, what'd you do?
Worked and got really drunk a lot.
Oh, really? You get laid?
None of your business.
That's a no.
For your information, I had me some sex.
With a young boy?
No. With a very hot young lady.
Boy, okay. He was a man boy.
No, but it was a good time. I love Vancouver.
Okay,
I love the city.
Tell me about this lady. Was she a man at any point of her life?
No.
Was she homeschooled?
No.
Those are both equally disgusting in my eyes. It doesn't matter which one.
Homeschooled or
yeah. Either way, I'm disgusted.
Like, I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't do either.
You wouldn't do a homeschooled girl?
No.
Why not?
Because first of all,
she might like it really freaky deaky.
Well, like
she probably would.
Yeah, she probably would need it. She'd be socially awkward. And also, like that Daniel Tosh joke. I had sex with one of my teachers, but everyone thinks it's weird because I was homeschooled.
Nicely done, Daniel Tosh.
It's just a weird thing. When people are homeschooled, they're just weird people, like Mormons.
Well, they're just kind of socially awkward, right?
It's not even just that. I mean, like, aside from like the socially awkward angle of not being able to handle themselves in that, they've never experienced how to develop in a situation. It's not even just being awkward, just the responses to other people is different.
Like in general, like body language even? Or
yeah, body language, or like either they're really, really comfortable with you or they just don't know you, or there might be like a social situation where someone does something and the way they handle it with their families, the way you handle it in public is different.
Yeah.
But they don't have that separation of like, church and state.
Yeah,
They're
definitely.
just fucking weird people.
Yeah, I know a couple of people who were homeschooled, and it's taken them, like, from the time I met them to the, like, maybe 5 years later after they've sort of entered society and started hanging out with people. They're still a little bit socially awkward.
They'll never grow out of it. They'll be like that the rest of their lives.
Well, but they have grown to a certain extent from what they were originally.
Listen,
like.
The only way I can really describe this to everyone that makes sense to everybody is it's like Frodo getting stabbed on Winthrop by the Witch King of Angmar. He will carry the scar the rest of his life.
That's how everyone will understand.
That's the only universal appeal I can have for people. Because everyone loves Lord of the Rings. And if you don't, just turn this off. We're going to get into why, if you like Twilight, you should never listen to this again. But that'll be on the actual ROFLcast.
Yeah.
So tell me about this girl. Was she tall? Was she... Wait. Could she fit on a regular-sized canoe?
Yes.
Would the canoe sink?
No.
Okay.
I only attract hideous, obese women, apparently, according to you.
If me and her were in a beauty contest, who would win?
She would win. You would lose epically.
Okay, wow. I like you pointed out. Also, because she won, and there's only you two, you would lose. That was redundant. All right, I get it. Tell me,
you didn't need me to
is
explain.
Is she a random or is it a girl you knew from before?
Just a friend of a friend.
Doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
Wait, no. Did you know her from before?
No.
All right, it counts.
Why wouldn't it have counted?
What STDs did you get?
None.
Oh, okay, well.
It's still that means it doesn't
If you're
count.
gonna cast your Pokeball out, you might as well catch something, you know?
Yeah. Well, at least I didn't have to use a fleshlight.
It's my masturbation aid. Nope. You know what?
that-
Let's not use masturbation and AIDS in the same sentence ever again.
Yeah, I agree.
I do want a fleshlight though.
Yeah, I've honestly never tried one, or I've seen them around, and it's always
They're
that
expensive.
the Kevin Smith,
Joe
podcast.
Rogan also
Yeah,
promotes it.
they're always pushing everybody.
With the
Go get a
fleshlight.
fleshlight.
I want to though.
You want one, or
I
you
think
want to
there's
try
something
it?
weird
or-
about me touching my own dick.
Why is that weird?
I don't know. Even when I scratch my balls, I do it outside the boxers.
Interesting.
Although sometimes I'll stretch my. Does your testicle sack stretch at all?
I think everyone's testicle.
I think
Sack
mine's
stretches.
reasonably stretchy. I think sitting in like a regular like seated position.
So like your balls are at your knees.
Well, no, they're not. They're elastic, like they go back. But like I can stretch them to my belly button from sitting prone like this.
Oh,
Can you? Do you think you could?
so
do
the
that?
reverse goat.
Is that what that is?
I don't know. I
Okay,
just know
well,
the goat is when
my-
you push everything the other way.
It kind of feels nice when you stretch your testicles, though. It's just like kind of stretching like your neck or your arms. You stretch, not the actual balls themselves. Those don't move.
Yeah.
Those are there for the count. Those vas deferens do not stretch. It's the actual sack itself.
Yeah, well, I don't think you'd want to try stretching your actual balls.
Yeah.
That would not be very good.
Yeah. One of the guys I know, his name's Brandon. I should say his last name. Farrell. Yeah, I said it.
There you go. You did
Look
it.
him up. He's in the new movie Scott Green and Marty Hayes. He's playing Biff Tannen. He got a text.
I had a line in that. Just saying, I wasn't actually in it, but I. Do
Oh,
you think
did
they
joke?
used it?
Yeah,
Do you think they used my
totally,
joke?
Yeah.
All right.
But he had like a ball like twisted or like sucked into his body
Oh.
because he's such a bitch. And one of his testicles like, well, they don't need me. It went back inside of his body
Yeah.
during high school, and he had to get it like fucking removed and shit.
God damn, man.
Yeah.
That's painful.
No, like not removed, just like pulled out of his thorax.
Yeah. It just got sucked up there.
Yeah, it just got sucked up. That's the thing. If you're too much of a bitch,
That can't
your
fit.
testicles suck back inside of you.
I don't imagine that feel very good though.
No, dude, even like the thought of like sometimes when a girl sucks too hard on my balls, because everyone likes their balls getting licked, right?
Yeah.
And my balls are soft and velvety. They are. But when
I
they
wouldn't
suck
know.
too hard, it hurts. It hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing.
Why aren't you joining in on this? I don't want to be like, I need a yes and.
The big ball talk.
Yes and.
Yes, and you like talking about your balls and
I
how
need
women
you,
shouldn't
I need
suck
you
on
to
them hard.
relate about you getting your balls sucked as well.
Well, my experience with getting my balls sucked is very minimal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How come? You're not into it?
No, it's not
Like
so
my
much I'm
balls
not
ain't
into it. I
licked
just
a little
haven't
bit.
been with a girl that was all like, let me fucking tongue and suck on your balls.
You got blowjobs. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
firsthand
Yeah, I
you
know,
got
yeah.
lots of blowjobs.
I got blowjobs.
She just ignored the
It's
stepchel?
not- Yeah, that step was never part of the process.
Really?
Yeah.
Did she even give you like a little handy? down
Yeah,
there?
no,
Hold
yeah,
them
yeah,
up,
yeah.
hold them
You know,
up?
the little
Yeah.
love with the hand.
I call it the elevator where they just like put their hands underneath it and just lift up and
Just
hold it
lift
there.
them up there?
The platform. They pull my balls on a pedestal and blow me.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a win move for
Yeah.
the ladies.
I make women do. I'm Greek, no, but I wish I was. In ancient Greek times, they would collect the snowy white fat of animals and put spices on it and burn that to the gods, and they would eat the meat because they didn't eat fat. So it was a way that Prometheus taught humans to sacrifice to the gods, and they would burn like incense and whatnot. That's how I want women to praise my testicles. That's what I require. I require an animal sacrifice.
It's like, where the fuck is this going? How do you know that?
I require an animal sacrifice or require them getting the snowy white fat, mixing with spices, and burning it at the altar of my balls. The altar being their hand
Yeah.
lifting at my testicles. Now you may be thinking, man, flames near your testicles, that can't be good for them. And you know what? You're right. I can't grow hair there anymore. Most of it, you know, if
That's
you
not necessarily
if
a
you
bad
wonder
thing,
what
though.
the scorched penis or my scorched balls look like, imagine if you got a bunch of Vaseline rubbed on your arm and then put Saran wrap on it and then wrinkled it up a little bit. That's what my skin looks like. That's how badly burned it is.
Ow.
That's not true. It's not even true a little bit. Although I did try to curl my pubic hair once.
How did that end up?
Didn't go well. I didn't have long enough pubic hair to do it. Like your pubic hair only gets a certain length before it stops, and then it like becomes that length period, like a certain fro. Although I dated one chick that her pussy hair could just keep on going.
Just she didn't do any trimming down below.
Well, she wasn't expecting it to happen, and she was been single for a while.
Oh, so it's
Yeah.
kind of like unexpected.
And then she did not know the smooth moves of Achilles of Flandres. She did not
she
know.
was not expecting.
She was
what
not
she ended up.
prepared for the chloroform. So when I saw
There was nothing ready.
Yeah.
Nothing could prepare her for that.
I wanted to dress like Moses and let her snatch on fire. I'm like, oh dear, it's a burning bush. Just like start praying to it. But that would not have gone well. Do you want me to tell you a story about her?
Sure, if it's entertaining, I'd love to hear about
All right.
it.
Well, she's a huge bush. All right. Next. Next episode.
So what's new with you? What's new with you?
I am leaving this world behind. My bags are packed. I'm ready to go.
Oh, okay.
I'm standing here outside your door. I hate to wake you up to say goodbye, though.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that you didn't do that.
Good, because the taxi waiting, it's early morning. Or the dawn is waning, it's early morning. The taxi's waiting, it's blowing its horn. Already, like at this moment,
Yep.
I'm so lonesome I could die.
Holy shit.
I know. But
Well, you better go and meet some new people then.
You need to kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you'll wait for me. And then hold me when you hold me.
Yeah.
Like you'll never let me go.
Okay.
This went on for way too long.
This clearly did.
Yeah. Speaking of not going on for long enough, my lady friend Miss A kind of made fun of me for being a 2-pump chump.
Oh.
Yeah. No, true story. This is true.
Dude.
Okay. So I'm very confident in my ability to last at least 37 seconds in bed. Like
At least 37.
that's what average sex lasts, right? That's how long you need to go. Okay. Because with all the weeping and the crying and the blood, that's about 2.5 hours that you dedicate for sex.
Yeah, exactly, totally.
Right. So, but usually we go for quite a while. I like marathon sessions. I'm a bit of a, I like making love for long, passionate periods of time.
That's good.
And
I'm sure the ladies appreciate it.
some of them do. Apparently she doesn't. She was like, you know what? Last night wasn't that long. I was like, oh, thanks, Miss A. And then she's like, no, it was like a good thing. Like it was quicker. It was fine.
She still enjoyed it even though.
And I'm like, there's no way you can tell me that I 2-pump chumped you last night. Because let's be honest, here's the thing. I'm training for boxing match. I've been, cutting weight and shit. So you get really tired. And at that night, I had already done 2 hours of boxing.
Yeah.
And for someone, try doing 15 minutes of boxing.
Well, and especially considering you masturbate 5 hours a day already.
I know. And that's 7 hours of my life dedicated to cardio as it is. We're going to do one ROFLcast and it'll be just the one exclusive one that's going to have no masturbation.
No
talk.
masturbation.
And people are like, what is this?
I hate ROFLcast. It's only good when they talk about jerking
oh man. Okay. I got another thing I need to talk to you about.
Okay.
God damn. There's so much.
Let's hear it.
Anyway, so let me go back to 2-pump chump.
Okay.
So I was just tired that day.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, as a guy, you can come instantly.
No, yeah,
if
pretty
you-
quick. If you
If you know what you're doing.
yeah,
You can-
definitely.
Just picture Christina Hendricks' rack, and then you can come instantly. You just picture just turn your girl around. Picture it's Megan Fox plus, in your case, 170 pounds, and with that heifer you fucked, and
Fuck your life.
and pretend that's Megan Fox. You'll come instantly. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Men can control their semen. Look, I can jizz right now. Boom! I just came a little, which sucks. 'cause
I
I'm
hope
wearing
not.
Really expensive boxers. But we last for longer because we like to prolong the pleasure. It's almost tantric for us.
Yeah, guy, and there's certain things that guys can do to make themselves last longer.
Yeah, like smack your dick, pitch your mom. No, that makes you come faster. I usually I'll recite things in my head or do things to prolong it, especially if the girl's about to come and to keep the same pace. Yeah. And I'm already ready. I'm just like, okay, I gotta.
You just basically put your mind somewhere else.
Well, yeah, but I still gotta maintain wood, so I need to do a sexy somewhere else. I'll try to revisit calculus problems I'll have for school the next day. But I'll picture a really hot topless woman teaching them to me.
There you go.
Because I'll be like, oh, I need to remember this, but she's also hot, so I maintain wood and keep myself thoroughly distracted while the lady jizzes on my man parts. Lady jizz is weird.
Lady jizz?
Yeah.
It's different girl to girl, man.
God, I have another story about that too.
About lady jizz?
Yeah, I don't know what I should share right now. Anyway, I'll talk about that later.
Okay.
So I determined after 7 or 8 songs that it's time to call it a night.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
There's a brand new Ultimate Fighter on that I haven't seen yet.
There's other things I could be doing right now other than this.
Yeah, it's not like I gave up or anything. I was just listen, how long is the average song? 3 to 5 minutes?
Yeah, about that.
So multiply that 7. How long is that? 20 minutes? 30 minutes?
Well, if it was only 3 minutes a song, it'd be 21 minutes.
So let's say it's even 5 minutes a song.
Yeah.
So that's even longer.
It's 35 minutes. So it's about 25 minutes.
Let's say 30 minutes on average, right? 25 to 35 minutes. Let's say 30 minutes on average. That's not a short sex session.
No, that's pretty decent.
That's okay.
Yeah, man.
That's all right. That's enough.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
She should be sore by that point.
Yeah, and like anything that's like getting a massage for longer than an hour. Anything after that's redundant.
Yeah,
The muscles
this is
ain't
boring.
This muscles ain't gonna change at all. It's over for you.
Was she just upset because maybe you came and she didn't?
No. She never comes because my penis is too small to stimulate her.
Oh,
No,
well, she must have a huge vagina.
She does sometimes. It's weird because there's
it dilates to different amounts
does. It
depending
honestly
on
changes. There's
how
like-
much foreplay there was prior.
I
to
think it's the moon cycle. Like, the more
Shark
werewolf
Week?
she Shark. I wish every week was Shark Week because she's so tight during Shark Week. No, I'm kidding. It like varies from time to time.
Put
but
down
like,
a towel.
Yeah, but fuck, there's a squirter story I need to tell you.
No, man. All right.
But,
Let's hear the squirter story.
I will move on to that. There's so much got to talk about.
It's been a while, man.
It's been a while. Okay, so anyway, that it didn't bother me at all because I thought that was fine. It is shorter than what we do usually. Like it is longer usually.
Yeah.
But I still figured, okay, that's still good.
Yeah.
But she was like, oh no, it was shorter. But she didn't say like it was a negative. She just said it was shorter.
Yeah.
But there's no way you could phrase that in which made it like good for the guy. It was almost like she was thinking out loud.
Yeah.
It was shorter, but it was okay.
Well, because like with the X, there were a couple of times where we had like super fast rounds, but both of us came in less than 5 minutes, and it was just like fucking awesome. But it was like, it was a super fast quickie. And sometimes if there's like you're randomly on a road trip somewhere, sometimes you just got to do it. But it kind of sounds like she was poking at you a little bit there.
It almost feels like it is if I didn't know she was such a callous, retarded bitch.
Oh,
yeah, like
only because
she
she's
had
a
no
callous,
social
retarded bitch.
grace that like I was sure she wasn't. She was just kind of stating facts. That's just the way she is. She's like, this is the way things are, and like that's just kind of is what it is for her. And she's so unabashed about it.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things I hate about her. Like what I mean, I like a nice, modest girl who's not going to talk about these things openly and be ashamed of their bodies and sex. But no, not her.
No.
Just walk around naked like it's nothing. There's nothing. She like takes away some of the sexuality out of it because she walks around naked.
Yeah.
So
it's like it kind of loses its
sex appeal.
Yeah, or its specialness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, put on some fucking clothes, you skank. And she's like, what? I'm comfortable. I'm like, I'm not comfortable. She's way too comfortable with herself. I need her to not like herself in order to be attracted to her.
So do you want her to be more insecure about her body and herself?
I need just like all I would have to do is get a time machine, get one uncle to be a little bit inappropriate with her, and would fix all my problems.
Then
She'd be a little bit more reserved. Have one guy just like have her ready to fuck a guy, and then her take off her top and be like, "Oh, gross,"
and then
run out of the car, and like
and then things would just be so much better in your life right now. Yeah,
and I hear gay guys do that. They'll like get with a chick and they'll get them all naked, and when they see them, like, "Oh, you're gross," and leave. So it makes it look like the girl's not good enough for him.
Yeah,
and she'll tell all her friends, which scares off other girls, so we can live secretly being gay without being chased by girls.
Interesting. I've never heard that before.
I made it up right now.
Well played.
Wow.
Well played.
I may have thought about this way too much.
I think you have. I think you've deciphered all the reasons why women would be insecure.
Yeah, I know. I need to snipe what I snipe, Yeah. I can sense daddy issues. There's no other way I get laid.
Yeah.
I feel like oh dear. It would be No, please go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
Oh no, that's good. Keep
it
going.
would be worse if I was joking. I think, but I'm not. My favorite compliment that I ever receive is not "you're so big," but they're not talking about my penis. They're talking about my man boobs. They're talking, but is when people are like, "You thought about this way too much."
Yeah.
When it's something I've never thought of before.
Yeah, and you just kind of pull it off the top of your head.
Yeah. It feels like the things I say are well thought out, but I assure everyone I've never thought about anything longer than 15 minutes at a time. Although, I've so much things. I'm tripping over myself.
Hey, it's all good.
Okay, so here's what's happening. I want to do a travel show. This is what I want to do with my summer.
Okay.
All right. I booked a ticket to Kenya because I want to see my homelands.
Yeah.
So my grandmother, God rest her soul, the more like a mom to me than grandmother. I love her to death. She's from Kenya, but I've never been to Kenya.
Yeah.
So I figured this is my pilgrimage to Africa 1 year after her passing.
Yeah.
I'll go visit the city she grew up in, go visit her family, go on an African safari, kill elephants, kill zebras, eat a giraffe alive.
Alive?
Yeah. Because there was an old girlfriend who I used to call a giraffe because she was like... She tried telling you when she was 5'11", but I'm 5'10", and she's like 4 inches taller than me.
So she was pretty tall.
She was really tall. You remember her. Whatever.
Yeah.
I had to stand on my
She clearly wasn't that important.
Well, she's the reason I won't go to the States. No, I'm kidding. I would have to stand on my tippy toes to kiss her.
Yeah.
On her vagina. That's how tall she was. So I'm ready to kill.
Bitch, man.
I'm ready to kill an effigy of her, which is definitely a zebra. Or a giraffe. I'm kidding.
So you're gonna go to Africa and you're gonna eat a bunch of exotic animals that we don't have over in North America.
Right. And this is coming from someone who doesn't eat beef or pork. Although I ate beef today and I feel fucking terrible.
Well, that's what happens when you eat beef.
Yeah, that happens. So I'm going to go there, go on an African safari. I'm going to go to London first for like a day.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'm headed to the south end of India in a place called Kerala, where I do a backwaters tour.
Is that about Calcutta?
No.
Okay.
Wow, that was racist. So this area of India, the south part of India, Kerala, this backwaters area is like the Amazon of Asia. Is what it is. There's a huge biodiversity. It's like this crazy jungle and shit. So you got to understand, like India.
So are they like totally chopping down all the trees in that area to keep it? Oh,
yeah, it's like preserved, which is nice. So I'm gonna go on this boat tour and like hunt piranhas and shit. Not piranhas, but whatever they have there. People don't understand
some dolphins, some river dolphins.
There are river dolphins, and I will kill them.
You-
The more intelligent,
You're like, I'm gonna kill an elephant. I'm gonna kill a river dolphin.
I'm gonna kill some orphan Sri Lankans. See, I figure the more innocent, smart, and cute the animal, the better it would be to kill it.
Yeah.
Well, but ideally, I do want to do some hunting. Not because I'm an animal lover. I think everyone knows I love animals except for pandas. Seriously, I fucking hate pandas. I love every animal.
But they're like the highest animal on the planet. They're just,
they're the fucking stupidest animals on the planet. They need to do two things to survive: eat ribs and fuck, and they refuse to do either. That's my favorite.
Like, that's too much work.
Yeah, that's my two favorite things in the world. If you gave me a slab of ribs and you told me when you're done, or fuck and then eat a giant slab of ribs, I would just start crying. I would weep. You'd see a grown man weeping because I'd be so happy.
Don't they just like eat bamboo and eucalyptus all day?
Yeah, and they need protein in their diets, and that's why they're getting sick, because the bamboo's poison. Also, they won't have sex and they can't reproduce. They're like the laziest, stupidest. And also, if someone was like, hey, there's a panda bear, you'd be like, oh, cute, a panda bear. It's a fucking bear. If I told you there's a grizzly bear, you'd start screaming and running. But if I told you there's a panda bear,
then it's
like, oh, yeah. They give a bad name to all bears. All right, they ruined the bear name. Grizzlies work so hard eating unsuspecting PETA advocates that they made a really good name for themselves, and it's ruined by panda bears.
Pandas are totally just pussying it up.
They are, and there's a song by Corky and the Juice Pigs called "The Pandas Must Die."
Yeah,
must listen to. Anyway, so I'm going on this backwaters tour. Back to the trip.
Okay, yes.
And I love animals, but I feel disconnected from our food source, so I want to go hunting.
Yeah.
I want to hunt an animal. I want to kill it with my hands, and then I want to drink its blood, eat its heart, and then cook it. Well, like
that's some dark shit.
In your first kill, you're supposed to eat its heart, right?
Interesting.
You're supposed to drink some of its blood.
Never heard that, but all right.
I might have made that
Just
up.
roll with it.
But I want to go through that right.
So are you gonna fucking skin the damn thing and like go through that whole process?
Yeah, absolutely, top to bottom. I want to know the work that goes into the meat I eat every day.
Yeah.
And I don't think I appreciate it in the way I should. And everyone's like, oh, but hunting's evil. No, what's evil is the way that animals are slaughtered normally in a slaughterhouse. That's fucking evil. The lives they live is terrible. At least if an animal grew up in the wild, you make a prayer for its soul, you give thanks, and you spend time connecting to that meat, you're more connected to that part of nature than you ever would have been before.
Yeah, it's a very Native American type of thing to do.
A native anyone, you know, like a native to India, a native to Africa, a native to North America.
Well, that's sort of like the whole Western culture. We sort of lack that gratitude
to animals.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a big, big, big problem. I think that because we disassociate ourselves with the meat, we don't appreciate our meat, which means we abuse our meat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think if I had a better idea and understanding of where my food comes from and what goes into it, not only would I appreciate it more, but I would probably conserve it more, maybe. I'm not sure what the journey will be on this, but like I want to, and also, you know, they say it takes 10,000 years of something to get rid of our DNA, out of our DNA. But for the last, like even 100 years ago, even 70 years ago, we were killing and eating our own food that we raised.
Yeah.
We went out and we got our own food. We were hand to mouth. But in the last 70 years, it's changed so drastically with the process of industrial revolution, of the
processing, manufacturing, that whole side of it has definitely changed the landscape of the food industry. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely. And I think that we still have in our reward system to go out. Like, know how there's a primal reward for sex when you're pursuing a girl and you finally get her and you fuck her? There's a reward that's unlike any other. And that's the same. It's the same thing for hunting. You know, like finding a suitable mate is something in our DNA. That's why, you know, we love to fuck. We love to get the hottest girl or the best girl, whatever the case may be. And the same thing would go for hunting, is that we have it in our DNA to, you know, provide, like, to hunt for our friends, provide for our friends, to kill animals. Like, it's in our DNA to give us a reward system because that's how we survived.
Yeah.
And I think that when we got away from that, there's the reason why everyone's so stressed and everyone's so unhappy. Everyone has so much antidepressant pills and shit. I think if you really connect back with nature, you'll find a level of happiness that you can't find using Prozac or using, you know, Oxycontin or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of just the nature of how our society's become with the overpopulation and just like the massive amounts of people. We've sort of been forced into a scenario where going back and everyone living on farms and fucking growing their own food.
An agrarian society,
yeah, like going back to that. And you know, this gets into more of a philosophical conversation, but whether that's better or worse than where we are today, you know, there's pros and cons to each of them. But you said, okay, so you're going to Kenya, and then you're going to India.
The south part of India. So I'm backpacking from the south part up to a place called, not Bangalore, can't remember the name of the city, sorry. But from there, I'm going for a friend's wedding, and then from there, I'm headed to Gir Forest, and that's one of the largest lion and tiger sanctuaries in the world. Where I actually know the person who knows the game warden. Yeah. So I'll be able to get like some pretty close-up access with real like predators. Yeah. Also beyond there is
why?
Because I'm a Leo.
Okay.
And I love tigers and.
Well, like, what are you? Well, but what are you going to be doing? Like, are you going to be like
hanging out with
petting
them,
a tiger?
Them? I don't think I'll be petting them, but I'll be like feeding them.
So I was like, what the fuck?
Just being close with them. I mean, like the Bengal tiger. Not only is endangered,
dude, that's like so cool to go see that, like without a doubt. But I was like, are you going to go kill some fucking tigers?
Well, we're going to kill a gazelle and feed them to lions.
God damn.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. That's what I'm really excited for.
That's crazy.
And then from there's the only coral reef in that part of Asia is protected. No one's allowed there, but there's a way to like get your way around that and get towards it. So I'm gonna work towards getting to the like a lost coral reef.
Do you have to like scuba dive there?
Yeah.
Or? That's
and it's like
cool.
This coral reef not only is completely protected, but it's unlike any other coral reef in the world. There's nothing else in the world that's like that coral reef. So I'm gonna see a type of reef that many people have never seen before. Yeah. So hopefully, I mean that's the plan. Yeah. Then from there, I'm hiking up north, and then I'll be headed to Tibet, Bangladesh, that area, and I'll be doing some whitewater rafting, camping, and stuff there. And then I go to the Ganges, where I do a prayer ceremony for my grandfather and grandmother who passed away and were put in the Ganges. And then my dog passed away in October. Yeah. Who was my best friend my entire life. And people who don't have a dog will never understand, but there's a special unity between a boy and his dog. Yeah. That's undeniable and unreplicable with anyone or anything. So when she passed away, which is the most devastating thing that's ever happened to me, I'm going to take her ashes to the Ganges as well. So she can be with my grandmother.
Cool,
as well.
Man.
Yeah. So that's going to be like, that's a big part of what I'm going to do. From there, I'm headed to, if I make it into Tibet, if I can get across the border, I'll go there. And then from there, I'm going to go to Hong Kong for a few days, chill there. And then from Hong Kong, I'm headed to Cancun.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so
I'm coming to Canada for a couple days.
Okay, so you're going to take a little break. Yeah.
Switch gear. We're going to go see your concert that day. Yeah. And then I'm going to head down to Cancun. Going to hang out in Cancun. I'm going to get a big fucking sombrero. I'm going to rent a donkey and travel from Cancun along the coast all the way to Belize on a donkey.
On a donkey. Dude, that is going to be one hell of a fucking trip. Your ass is going to be so sore from riding a donkey. Yeah. And from all the anal rape.
All from the anal too, yeah. As I learned from Brokeback Mountain, if you want a slight Mexican man, head down to TJ, order them up for $50 and you're done.
Yeah, this is pretty easy.
And they say you don't learn anything from movies.
Yeah, you totally do.
So yeah, my ass, as in my donkey, and my ass, as in the thing attached to my body, is going to be sore by the end of that. So in Belize, I'm meeting up with my buddy Ian, cool Ian, who's a fucking retard. And like, you know that friend they've had all your life, who you love to death, but he's a fucking idiot and you hate him?
Yeah, we've all got one of those.
Yeah, that's Ian. So me and him are going to be backpacking through South America, or Central America, to every country, seeing Mayan ruins, going scuba diving, going zip lining. We're going to go to Panama and like go into the dangerous jungles of the Darien Gap.
So have you already planned this whole trip out and
Yeah.
have like different things you're doing at different times?
Yeah, we do. And we have like a tour guide in Panama and shit like that.
Nice.
So we want to make like a travel show out of this, like a ROFLcast travel show.
Yeah.
And we want you to come, and hopefully you can, but you'll be meeting us a week into the trip if you
Yeah,
can come.
I got some work trips and traveling that I need to do at the beginning when you guys are gone. So hopefully, if I can get the time off, I can come down there.
Meet
and
us in like El Salvador or something.
exactly,
Or meet
and
us
just
in
for the
Costa
last
Rica.
3 weeks. But dude, some of the shit you're telling me, like, tell the little story about the place that you're going to be journeying through
Okay,
and the
so
death rate.
The Darien Gap is a gap between Panama and Colombia.
Yeah.
So that area was supposed to be industrialized to connect North America and South America,
Mm-hmm.
but it is overrun by Colombian drug lords and guerrillas, which control that area. Tourists have a 40% death rate traveling through that area.
Fucking 40%
Panama
rate.
has the highest homicide rate of anywhere in the Western Hemisphere,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so high, higher than most parts of Africa, that 1 in 50 people are killed by homicide.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah. So,
So-
we're spending the most time in there. That's where we're spending the most time is in Panama. But there's that song, Panama, Panama,
And that's why you want to go?
And that song was on Superbad, and I love that movie.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's why we're going.
It's going to relive those memories from Superbad right
Yep.
there.
And also there's like there's no law against bungee jumping wherever you want.
Mm-hmm.
So there's these guys that you'll see that will go to overpasses at like midnight, tie up a rope, and just jump off like buildings and overpasses.
damn, man.
And we're doing that in the middle of the fucking night
You're crazy,
in the
dude.
live traffic. That's what I'm excited for.
Like, I like the part of it, like the journeying, the traveling, just
Going to see the Aztec
seeing,
ruins.
like seeing things that I've never seen before. But in as far as like wanting to die, I don't know about that.
I'm prepared. I'm ready to die. And here's the thing, like we want to do an ayahuasca trip.
There you go.
So when
a little
a little journey. So what ayahuasca is this plant that has DMT in it, which is a psychoactive drug that actually your body naturally produces.
Yeah.
This gives you a larger dose of that. But one of the problems is that there's an NAO inhibitor inside your body that breaks down this plant, so your DMT doesn't get processed by your system. But there's another plant that actually stops that inhibition and allows you to process the DMT properly.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, the way that South America is made developed is that not 100,000 years ago, the entire thing was a plain. Like the way that Alberta is plains. That's the way it used to be. And then there's a severe climate shift in the last huge global warming event. And that entire area became a rainforest.
Yeah, it's been
very, very quickly. That's why you have such weird biodiversity there. That's why there's a thing called the leaf mutinajack, or the tree deer, or leaf deer rather. That's a tiny, like the size of a jackrabbit, deer, a tiny primitive deer that lives in trees.
Mm-hmm.
Like that doesn't just happen.
No, I did not know that. I did not know any of that information.
Yeah, so that's why that area is so crazy and that's such huge biodiversity, because everything's evolved in its own special way. There's also one area that's a giant crater that evolved exclusively in that crater because nothing got in and out of that crater.
So I'm intrigued by the fact that why is Africa have so much desert in comparison if they're on the same like latitude
meridian?
Yeah, like
the reason is that although they are on the same meridian, the water culture of that area is completely different. So the type of soil is different. The air cover is different because of the type of water bodies that are nearby. There's a lot more estuaries and water masses inside of South America than there are in Africa.
Okay.
And since Africa originally was mostly plains, because that's where all of humanity originated from, that area used to be like a pretty rolling, lush plain, but over the last couple thousand years, it's developed in more of an arid wasteland and desert.
Yeah.
So although they have the same latitudinal,
I think it's latitude. I don't think it's longitude.
Longitude is top to bottom, latitude is across. Yeah. Axis, they still have very, very different topography.
Mm-hmm.
Same with like they have different types of mountain ranges with social effects to the type of moisture.
Oh
in the
yeah,
air
there's
and stuff like
tons
that.
of different reasons. It's just that you said in as far as
The climate shift.
well, yeah, like no Amazon jungle 150 years ago.
No, there was in 150 years ago, yes, but this is 150,000 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, 100,000 years ago. That's where the shift came about. Was about 100,000 years ago.
Oh, okay. I
Maybe a
thought you
little
said
bit longer.
150 years.
No.
That's why I was
It may
so
be even
confused.
longer, like,
I was like, what the fuck?
I read up on it like once. I need to go back and check my facts. It may be longer. It may be shorter.
Yeah, but
I'll find out the full
hundreds
facts
of thousands of years ago.
I mean, you got to think Neanderthals were still in sub-Saharan Africa as early as I think 300,000 years ago.
I don't know. I haven't.
300,000 to 800,000 years ago, we had Neanderthals still, and it's not Neanderthal, it's Neanderthal, and
Thank you.
yeah, and before they weren't actually quite wiped out. There's an interesting story behind that too, but we won't get into that.
So are you going anywhere else in your journey? Or
We're gonna head down there. We're gonna go across the Darien Gap into the Colombian drug fields and hopefully not get
Jesus
killed.
Christ.
We're gonna eat coca leaves.
Yeah, you're gonna
So-
just straight up eat them?
Yeah, we're gonna eat them, and they give you like a natural buzz. But you
Imagine
need-
they would.
Yeah, but you need 50 coca leaves to get 1 gram of coke.
Yeah.
So it's not very much. Although, sorry, the ayahuasca trip are going on. This ayahuasca trip, this DMT trip is like healing. People have gone that are addicts and have done ayahuasca, have connected with whatever's beyond there, whether it be aliens or ancient civilizations, whatever the case may be, and talk to these people and then have been cured of things that they've never been able to drop. And
Or they were really high.
Or they're really high. But either way, whatever the reason is, maybe they're talking to some subterranean ancient culture.
Or it could be science
maybe,
of mind.
Yeah, maybe they're talking to aliens. Maybe it's just getting high. But whatever the case may be, they're coming out of it inexplicably changed.
Yeah.
Because they experience reality is so much more real than itself, and it's a healing thing. It's very, very healing. Common side effects include diarrhea, hallucinations, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go with a shaman and do that, which is completely legal. Like, remember, all the stuff we're doing is legal in South America.
In those countries, yeah, you're allowed to do that. It's kind of like pot in Amsterdam.
Yeah, well, it's more than that, because it's like peyote in South America as well, because that's an ancient tradition, and the only way that these South American people found out about it, somehow they figured it out. And when you ask them how they figured it out, because there's so many millions of species, how they figure out these two work together, they say the trees told them.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Well, I mean, we've learned from the way that they've developed curare poison, the way that they figured out medicines and stuff. Whatever the Mayans and the Aztec people knew, it was far beyond our understanding of the plants and animals we have now. Because there's ancient techniques of herbology that they're using that modern medicine can't describe yet.
Well, and there's stuff that modern medicine goes in and goes, holy shit, look at this whole group of people. They consume this thing and this doesn't happen to them. Let's look at that thing and find out what's going on. And then they'll go synthesize it and they'll be like, holy shit, there's this protein that reacts with humans that's inside this thing these people have been doing for 100,000 years that actually cures something, or however long it is, you know. And that stuff I find really interesting and really cool.
Yeah, humans didn't get to the Americas until like I think 50,000 years ago. Came across on the Siberian land bridge following woolly mammoth tribes. Either way, like the culture they developed is fascinating. And also they found a new dig site in South America that they believe will actually be bigger than Tikal, which is a current giant Aztec city or Mayan city. So these ruins are being unearthed now in an uncharted part of the jungle, and we're gonna try to backpack our way through the jungle
and try and get to it.
And get to it.
Crazy,
it's not
man.
a tourist destination.
See, that's
yet.
cool, man. Going to check out all the Aztec and Mayan ruins and all that sort of stuff. That's pretty sweet.
I mean, there's a possibility we'll stumble upon something that no one has ever seen before. There's a possibility we'll get eaten by lions or panthers, rather.
Yeah.
But whatever the case may be, we're gonna see some cool shit, and we're gonna have a hell of a journey. We're going to go to Colombia. I bought a white suit, and as if you could see me right now, I've grown a bit of a beard because I'm trying to grow a mustache. Because I'm going to wear my white suit. I know where this is going. My aviators, and my mustache in Medellin. I'm going to be in Medellin, Colombia. I'm going to walk around like I'm fucking Pablo Escobar.
Oh, man.
And I'm gonna get a
I don't
cane.
know if that's a good idea, especially in the part of the world where there's a 40% death rate.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I'm super excited for. And yeah, we're going to chill in Medellin just because the sheer fact that we love Entourage and Pablo Escobar. And we're going to head to Venezuela. We're going to see Angel Falls, the largest waterfall in the world. And what it is, basically what Angel Falls looks like, if you look up a picture, it looks like a giant cube. And there's water's falling off this giant cube. It almost looks like something out of like Reboot. It's pretty amazing. And then from there's one boat that takes you to Trinidad, and then that's where we're going to get to Trinidad. We're going to spend a week there because that's where I'm from. And then we're going to go to Barbados, and then we're going to go from Barbados to Halifax, and then trek around Cape Breton and eastern Canada and camp there for like maybe a month.
Oh, dude, and this is June, right?
Yeah. Well, May 31st.
Yeah, so June.
Yeah. Yep.
So this is June that you're gonna do this, and you're gonna come back. It's probably gonna be like plus 40 Celsius while you're down there.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be crazy out. We're predicting that, but remember, we're going from 0 sea level, like 0 meters above sea level, to 3,000 meters above sea level in various places.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna go from plus 40 to plus 18.
Yeah,
it's gonna be severe and it's gonna be crazy.
And if you like go stay on mountains at night, it's gonna get quite cold.
Oh yeah, I mean it's gonna get like.
But
super
we're
frosty.
from Canada, so you should be fine.
Yeah, we'll be fine. We're not gonna die. Well, we're probably gonna die.
Hey,
and the funny thing is, when we do the ayahuasca trip, because you went on like this journey, like Ian needs healing emotionally, I need healing physically and emotionally, and like we're not quite addicted to anything, but we do have like our vices and we do have personal shit, and we're planning on this journey to fix us. I mean, like, anyone can benefit from it. You can benefit from it. Other people can benefit from it. It's totally worth doing. And we're also like, if there's something to see, and this is a picture of Angel Falls.
Nice.
Largest waterfall in the world. And if there's something to do or something to eat, like deep fried pig intestines, guinea pigs, wild boar that we like hunt and kill that day.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
go hunt and kill wild boar and then
we're
cook that
with
up
knives
and eat it.
and bows and arrows. Yeah, piranhas, turtle fetus soup, like whatever it is, I'm eating it. I'm eating.
So are you gonna have a tour guide going with you throughout this whole thing?
No.
You guys
We're
are just
doing
trekking it on your
ourselves,
own.
We met a couple people online we're going to meet up with. We talked to a guy in Guatemala who said he can get us AK-47s.
That's interesting. Why would he get you AK-47?
For $127? I don't know, just
Jesus
for protection. Who knows?
We might need these during our journey.
Yeah.
We don't want to get hacked by any gorillas.
Well, the thing is, I just want to get one and just like shoot it off and like, I don't know.
And just to fire one.
Just to have.
I think
like,
you can go to Vegas and do that. You don't need to.
Maybe, yeah. But you're allowed to carry like any length of blade you want across the borders, but you can't carry guns. So I'm going to buy or bring my giant katana and use that.
My giant samurai sword.
Well,
I'm going to take this samurai sword with me. I don't need a machete. Okay.
I do have a machete,
that makes a little more sense,
but
especially if you're
also
trekking
take my
through the
katana
forest.
as well, I think.
Yeah.
Just because. But yeah, we're going to get dysentery. I'm almost sure of it. We're going to get AIDS. Like that, I'm sure. I just got my hepatitis shot.
That's good.
So I'm gonna deal with that for a little while. And yellow fever we're getting.
Nick,
but we actually
are shots.
It's almost guaranteed if you eat from street vendors and shit, and you live amongst the people, you're gonna get dysentery.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm prepared. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you ready for that?
Yeah. And like Ian's never been outside the country, so he's gonna die.
He's never been anywhere, and this is his first trip.
He's been around Canada like several times.
Yeah.
But he's never been outside the country.
Huh.
So he's going to die. I'm sure of it. And also said that, like, I told him, like, listen, when we do this ayahuasca trip, there's a good possibility I'm just going to kill you because I'm going to be hallucinating. I'm going to have a machete in my hand. I'm going to murder you. And he's like, yeah, I know. Like, he was, like, totally at ease with it. He's, like, totally fine with it. We're going to be filming the whole thing. We got to think of a name for the travel show.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I was going to say, what do you have right now for
so
names?
I got a bunch of list of names, and then I went to this travel club online.
Mm-hmm.
These people that make these little travel shows, like independent travel shows.
Okay.
And
is there
there's
like a local community of them, or is this like global?
Global
like,
community,
okay, cool.
and mostly in the States and Canada.
Yeah.
And in the UK. And these people that run this community are legit people, like heads of Rotary clubs. They run travel companies, shit like that. And they go on this like chat thing or forums that you can like talk to them and ask them questions and shit. So I told them about my idea of making like this ROFLcast, travel show.
Okay.
And making names.
Just looking for feedback from them?
Yeah.
Or? Okay.
So I made a pitch that I posted on Facebook that was kind of entertaining my friends about what's going to happen. So I put a picture of me and Ian when we were 16 up, and it says the niggers on it. Keep in mind, neither of us are black.
Yeah.
Yeah. One's white and I'm only half black. So here's the pitch. This picture was taken when Ian and I were 16 years old. 500 years later, we are reuniting to trek across the second most dangerous place on Earth, Latin America. We will span 2 continents with our backpacks and banana hammocks in search of lost Mayan gold and tequila. And although we will probably die on this journey because I am a reckless sociopath and Ian is a neurotic Jew, we want to make it memorable. If there's something to try, we're going to try it. Even anal. Nay, especially anal. What kind of things can you expect from our liquor-infused adventure? Well, to answer a question with a question, what do you call a Canadian who doesn't believe in God? An atheist.
Oh.
Thank you. I guess that pretty much sums it up, although it doesn't really.
Yeah, that didn't answer shit.
Didn't answer anything. We want to film and document a lot of it, but can't seem to think of a suitable name, and here's what we're considering. So that's my initial pitch. So at this point, I figured the travel group's not going to take me seriously.
Probably not.
They did.
Oh.
Yeah.
They
Oh, yeah.
Were they like, this is vulgar? What did they?
No, they kind of held their judgments and said, I'm like, listen, this is going to be, like, we want this to be a little bit crazy, and just roll with me.
Yeah, and to be kind of, be funny, and, you don't want to just...
So I figured I would lose them at a certain point, right?
Okay.
So the first name I suggested was, how about the ramble quest of rambunctious roving rhinoceros-like ribosomal ribbed rangers? And they're like, well, you know what? That's a little wordy. And he was completely serious. I was like, and at that point I was like, oh, motherfucker, I can mess with these guys. I'm like, all right, so I need something shorter. I'm like, how about the proper pauper princes of perpetual porcupine pupusas? They're like, well, that is shorter, and it does have the word pupusa, which I know is a popular Latin American dish, but
no more P
I think
words.
it might still be, the alliteration might be a little confusing for people to find. I'm like, you're right. The 7 P's probably isn't a good title.
Tough title to find online.
How about the niggers? And then I waited, and it was silent for a minute. It's like, well, that could be deemed offensive, but I mean, I understand that African Americans use that word more often. I'm like, neither of us are black. And they're like, well, then definitely that would be found as offensive by some people.
You probably don't
You're
want to
not
go
gonna
with
be able to
that
get
one.
a sponsor with that one. I'm like, okay. How about the Marauders? Because Marauders are people that
that's not
travel
bad,
places.
yeah.
I was like, that's a very good name. I'm like, good. All right, so I'm gonna give you things more like the Marauders. Like, okay, the niggers. It's like, still, that's the one you said earlier. Not good. I'm like, sorry. How about the methed out coyotes? It's like, well, you mentioned drugs in the title. Probably not good because a lot of brands don't want to be associated with drugs.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm like, but like, are you going to be doing meth on this trip? And I'm like, no. Like, then probably not a good idea. And what about coyotes? Aren't they people that smuggle people across the border, and isn't that also illegal? I'm like, yeah, that's why we chose a name. They're like, nope, that's not a good one.
Not a good name for your travel.
I'm like, I'll tell you what. How about the capitalistic pigs? And like, there we go. That one's it's a bit edgy because you're referring to yourself capitalistic pigs, but I mean, it really explores the arrogance of like modern day society and how like
getting
culture,
all deep on this shit.
And I was like laughing my ass off on my end because I was like, motherfucker, I just made that up.
I just wrote that shit down
I
off
don't
the
even
top
know
of
what
my
that
head.
means. I was like, you're right. We should talk about the issues of South America. He's like, that's a great idea. I'm like, how about brutal AIDS fail as the name of the travel show? And he's like, well, I mean, it's a little more avant-garde. I'm just rolling on the floor laughing.
Oh, man.
I'm like, really? So he's still with me at this point, right?
I'm surprised he didn't just leave this
Yeah,
conversation.
dude, I'm shocked. And he's like, it's maybe a little harsh because some people might get the wrong idea from the title. And I'm like, you're right. How about Interracial Spirit Quest 2011?
Oh, that's
And they're like, so that's people's favorite so far.
So far, that's
because we are different races, and it is a spirit quest, and it is in 2011. He's like, all those things, but the term interracial generally relies on like a social standpoint, which also taking any standpoints on the social standing is controversial. I was like, interracial
that's the
spirit
most
quest.
normal one you gave him
It
so
is,
far.
well, the Marauders probably.
Well, yeah, true, but still.
I'm like, okay, well, how about Perry Noir? He's like, oh, that's very, very nice. And like, I'm talking to several people, and they all chime in like, yeah, that's very good. Yeah. Perry Noir is good. Are you going to do like a backroads tour of Paris or the UK or France? I'm like, no, we're going to South America only. I'm like, well, it might confuse people if you say Perry Noir. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that might confuse people. And he's like, you should be more direct about what you're doing. And I'm like, good idea. How about the jungle rapists? And they're like,
This part's mostly for the Kenya portion of the trip.
At that point, he's like, we tried to stay away from words like rape or incest because we find that doesn't go over well with crowds. I'm like, why is there research done on this subject? What other person used rape in the name of their travel show? So he's like, well, we really like the Marauders. Like, so far, that was probably the best one. I'm like, right. Let's go to the theme. How about the faggots? It's like, well, if you guys have an alternate sexual orientation, that is part of it. I understand using gayness in it. And like, no, neither of us are gay. In fact, neither of us particularly like gay people. Like, obviously, we're joking, but they're like, oh, okay, then might not be a good idea to use that word because oftentimes it's used to describe people that are homosexual. I'm like, you don't want that. And it's like, well, I'm like, well, I mean, we don't want to go to hell, so we can't talk about homos. And then I was like waiting for the hammer to drop at this point because at this point I'm fucking with them.
Oh yeah.
Nope. Kept going.
They're still with you.
I'm like, okay, how about the bear and the bee? I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So is one a woman? Like, no, we're both dudes. I was like, okay, well, bee is a colloquialism used in London to refer to a woman. And I'm like, oh, I was referring more to the bear as being me because I'm a big hairy guy, and in the gay community they call us bears, and the bee because Ian stings people with his AIDS-ridden ass. And at this point they're like, well, I mean, you do have a story behind the name, which is good.
It's great to have a story. Yeah.
That's exactly what they said. And but you can't use something like that because it usually uses something that's a little bit, we're referring to someone and their disability. Because I'm like, at this point, they assume Ian actually has AIDS. And I am dumbfounded at this point because how have they not caught on? So I'm like, I am a little bit worried that I'm gonna lose them on this next one. So I went back. I'm like, how about the Unjust Duchess of Handsomeness? And they liked it. They're like, it's a fun, playful name. Hard to remember though. That's the only thing. It's hard to remember and it's a little long.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. Here's one that's really fun. How about the dumb cumpsters? Like, what's a cumpster? I'm like, well, usually I refer to Ian as a cum dumpster because anyone can throw their loads inside of him. But I figured that might be too rude or uncouth. So how about the dumb cumpsters? They're like, well, I understand that you change it so it'd be less like obviously offensive, but it still could be offensive to some people.
I still weeb it just a little bit.
Oh, okay. How about, I'm like, well, a lot of this journey is about Ian having sex with prostitutes along the way because prostitution's legal down there. How about the vaginal discharge factory? And they're like, well, it's not a real factory. And I was like, that is your note? That's the note you give me for that one? It's not a real factory? And also,
it's not that's offensive. That's not a real factory.
And also, I'm pretty sure that prostitution's not legal in that part of the world. I was like, oh shit, we need to change our show. We actually took a break right there because I ate beef for the first time in a year because I need to get my body accustomed to South America. Didn't go well.
It just went right through you.
Did not go well. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
All right. So let's continue. You said prostitution is not legal in that part of the world.
Oh,
so.
I'm like, oh, okay. So the one Backroads probably won't work. They're like, oh no, Backroads is great. That's a really good title. That's excellent. I'm like, no, we meant Backroads as an anal. So I guess the whole prostitution thing, if that's illegal. But it's like,
that's actually not that bad.
Backroads is a good title, right?
Yeah, Backroads is pretty good.
I like that one. Okay, the other one was Traveling Through because I'm a big fan of Dolly Parton.
Mm-hmm.
And she has that song Traveling Through. God made me for a reason and nothing is in vain. You're not going to join in?
No, definitely not going to join in.
As I'm traveling. So
the next... Oh, God. The next one?
Friends, I have many. All right. So I said Backroads are Traveling Through. They like them both. Sex, Drugs, and Smooth... Shit. I ruined that one. Sex, Drugs, and Smooth Low-Key Jazz. They're like, well, we like the concept. Is jazz going to be a big part of it? No. But sex and drugs are. He's like, probably not a good thing to advertise. I'm like, all right. How about Pow Boot? Oh, my God. I'm so Canadian. How about Pan Flute Symphony Bazaar?
That definitely gets that. Well, you're not going to Peru, so I can't say Peruvian like, pan flute is.
Exactly. I'm like, well, we're not going to Peru, and we're not playing any instruments on the entire trip. It's like, yeah, that doesn't work. And like, all right, how about Ebony and Ivory? He's like, I don't recall. Is one of you black? I'm like, nope. He's like, well, Ebony represents dark skin. And I was like, oh, okay. And then we went through the Crunchy Esophaguses, Snuffleupagus' Magical Anal Adventure, to which they said Snuffleupagus is a trademark character. The anal adventure part's fine. SCD Pokemon, Latin American edition, because you got to catch them all. But then they said Pokemon is also
a trademark.
Yeah, a trademark, yeah.
Might have some trouble.
And then I suggested Stupid Retard Travel Inc., which I like.
Yeah.
But then they said that the word retard can be offensive.
Yeah, that's true.
But Stupid
Some
Travel
people may find
Inc.
that
is
offensive.
kind of funny. Crab Cake Rangoon, which is, I think, just a funny name.
Just Crab Cake Rangoon.
Yeah. They're like, are you guys going to be eating this as a culinary show? I'm like, nope. Like, okay.
Might not be the best idea.
Gypsy Quest 5000. And they're like, well, gypsies can be a derogatory term. I'm like, oh, Ian's a modern day gypsy. He's an actual gypsy. And they're like, oh, Ian's not a gypsy. But Gypsy Quest 5000, I kind of like.
Yeah. It's got a ring to it.
Cloned Lemon Initiative, either technology or Clone Lemon Initiative travel, because then it'd be clit. Yep. We're big fans of Epic Meal Time, so Epic Trip Time.
Yeah.
But then too much of a ripoff.
Yeah, it's very, very much a ripoff.
The Fancy Top Hat Travelers, which they loved.
They love the fancy top hat travelers?
Yep. And they said it'd be a really cool gimmick if you guys wore nice clothes and top hats. I'm like, yeah, tuxedos in the jungle. That makes sense.
Totally.
Hammock humpers as the porno offshoot of our thing, because we want to sleep in hammocks along the way.
You bringing lots of ladies back to the hammocks?
Well, here's the story. So we were going to camp for part of it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, listen, we can't bring a tent. They're too big. How are we going to trek around with backpacks in a giant tent? It's a lot to carry. So Ian found these hammocks that actually, like, you tie them between two trees. They have a bug net and a rain cover, and you basically sleep in a hammock all night, which is fucking cool.
Personalized hammock tents.
Exactly. So these tiny hammocks. And I'm like, but Ian, what if the off chance you meet a girl and bring her back? He's like, man, the fact that I have a hammock is an even better pickup line. And then somehow
is that a good pickup
he's like,
line?
I'm like, yeah, every girl wants to hear, hey, babe, you want to go back to my place? And you lead her to the middle of the woods, and there's a hammock hanging there. The hammock humpers is what we'll call ourselves. That's where that story came from.
Oh, man.
But like,
that girl would be scared for her life at that point in time.
Exactly. And he's like, no, man, you can swing it. You can swing it. They'll think you're really cool and edgy. I'm like, listen.
I don't know.
People and like Miss A and Miss L are really concerned that I'm gonna like go around and sleep with a bunch of random chicks on resorts while I'm down there.
Yeah.
But they need to understand Ian is a bigger cock block than my face and personality put together. There is no way. There is no way we're meeting any women when we're down there.
Not gonna happen.
There. Ian gives off the same vibe as a serial killer, and when I tell him this, he just sighs and says, "I know."
There's not a good vibe.
The movie Murder by Numbers with Ryan Gosling and Sandra Bullock, look it up. Ryan Gosling in that movie was a killer. That's exactly what Ian's like. That's the same vibe Ian gives off.
Good luck.
Yeah. So, and then I asked them if AIDS wombat was good. And
I'm going to say they said no.
They said there's no wombats in South America. And I'm like, okay, does that also mean that cocaine koalas is out of the question? They're like, probably. Because
not a good one.
South America.
What about cocaine AIDS?
Yeah, cocained up AIDS transmission, but the bug chasers. Because they would think that it means that we're looking for rare insects.
Yeah.
But really, a bug chaser is someone who looks for people with AIDS and has sex with them trying to get AIDS. It's a real thing. Look it up.
That's fucked up.
Here are some other names that are actually good that we didn't tell them about. Fringe Division, because I'm a big fan of Fringe, and we're going to like the fringes of the countries.
Yeah.
The Rare Bats, although we have nothing to do with bats, it's just a cool name.
Mm-hmm.
The Secret to Life, which is travel, is what Hemingway said. The secret to life is travel. And Wanderlust, which is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And because the song by Gogo Bordello, Wanderlust King, is an awesome song. And Wanderlust is a good name for it. But we actually talked about a movie called Wanderlust on the podcast already. It's coming out soon. Yeah. So out of like the good names, The Marauders, The Unjust Touches of Handsomeness, Backroads, Traveling Through, Wanderlust, Fringe Division, Rare Bat, Secret to Life. Do you like any of those? Gypsy Quest 5000?
Probably Backroads.
Yeah, Backroads is good.
I think Backroads is good, especially if you actually want to make this into like a video series and go around and travel to other places and get sponsors. Because I don't think you should go with any of the AIDS-related, racist-related to try and actually get sponsored.
So the niggers is totally out.
So the niggers, not a great one.
Fancy Top Hat Travelers, maybe.
That's a maybe, but unless you're going after Tip Top Taylor, I don't know who's going to sponsor the Fancy Hat Top Hat Travelers.
Although these could all be names of like the episode names.
Yeah, those you could be called Backroads, and then those could be certain episodes.
Epic Trip Time would be the first episode. The Fancy Top Hat Travelers, when we get to Colombia and we're all dressed up. Gypsy Quest 5000 could be when we're like kind of hitchhiking. Like these are all things that
you could totally use that and use that as your template for what your show is going to be about.
All right, now all we need is for you to come with us, and we're good.
All right, I'll work on that. I seriously will. I'll see if I can get the time off and get the money together, because I don't imagine it's that expensive to get a flight down there these days.
So cheap. Ian's entire trip with all the flights he's going on is going to be under $1,000 for all the flights.
Holy shit, that's really cheap.
Our living expenses, we're loaning ourselves about $30 to $50 a day.
Yeah, like my return trip to Houston is $700.
Really?
Yeah.
That'd be more than going to South America and living there until we get
Well,
there.
yeah.
Would cost the same amount of
Living
money.
$700 a month in those parts of the world.
Belize, yeah.
You're probably living pretty high.
Well, thanks everyone for listening. This was a long one.
Yeah, this was a very long uncut.
It was an hour. That's reasonable. An hour's good.
Well, yeah, I guess it's the usual time our uncuts have been lately.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for listening. And if you have any suggestions for names or what we should do while we're down there, drop us an email at ROFLcast@gmail.com. Or head over to ROFLcast.com. Well, you'll probably see a new site by the time this is up.
Hey, that would be good.
That would be fun.
That would be great.
Tell your friends. Tell your friends about this. Also, you can subscribe on iTunes now. We're in iTunes.
Hey, look at
and
that.
the
We're
Zune Marketplace and Amazon. So if you want to get a hold of us, you can do it that way.
Getting organized.
Getting organized. And until next time, we remain uncut.